Delicious and nutritious orange juice. That's the breakfast of champions. Good morning to everyone who was waiting for me. I'm 10 minutes late. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try my best to go somewhere between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., depending on what's going on with me. And I was actually in the YouTube studio a minute ago trying to update my channel banner because even though it's a pretty decent banner, it's a nice little, hey, welcome to 40 Entrepreneur Drive. I felt like it was a little bit impersonal because you don't really know what you're getting ready to watch when you come onto that channel, seeing that street sign there. And I kind of like the whole thing with street signs since my channel name kind of looks like a street sign and it is supposed to be not a figure of speech. What do you call it? My channel name, the way it came about and the way that I've developed my branding does kind of put you in the mindset of streets and paths and roadways and things like that. And so I definitely have been trying to optimize and market, uh, corner the market on that look. But I didn't want that street look anymore. I wanted it to be a little bit more personal. And so I was trying to update it and put my face on there. And boy, oh boy, when you start creating, you can lose track of time. So I do apologize. I said all that to say I apologize. The one that's just been updated may not be the permanent one because I still have some tweaking to do. But in either case, now you can see my face on my banner. So people that come to the channel are welcomed by the person that they will be watching and not just a street sign that sort of kind of looks like a dead end. At this point, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping, meaning I'm sharing out the stream to my social media. And if you have social media, feel free to share it out, and that way we can get more people in the chat room, more ideas, more questions, comments, more debate, more conversation. That's always fun to have a full house and have all my friends come and chat with me because, as you all know, all my friends are on YouTube and you can be too. Yes, all of my friends are on YouTube. And if you want to be a friend, subscribe. And if you've got friends, let them know they can subscribe too. All right, let's see. Are we live? Checking on my phone and checking on some other outlets. I like to check it out and see from different points of view because it does show up differently. Okay, make sure my chat room is going. Looks like I do have one person waiting. Thank you for your time and patience. We will be reading through Genesis chapters 40 through 42 today. And so it's going to be pretty short today. Tomorrow is Monday, and we will be right on schedule finally for the to follow the guide that I'm going off of, which is Diane Stortz's The Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year. So that should be pretty cool when I can follow along. And then I think it will be right about, oh, I'm getting some static interference. Let me know if you guys can hear anything weird in the audio because I'm hearing some weird staticky stuff. And if I can nip that in the bud before I get too deep into it, that'd be great. Okay, let's see. Good morning, good morning. And happy Sunday also. Today is January 12th, 2020. And we're still in yes, we are still in Genesis. All right, got that like that. Shared it out to Twitter, shared it out to Facebook. Sharing it out in some other areas. and welcome to all who have been able to join this morning. If you're not able to join me on the live stream, don't worry about it. It's cool. If you do want to follow along with me reading the Bible for in a year, reading through the Bible front to back, you can always watch the replay if you just want to get listen in on the stories that I am reading, or if you just want to show some support. And just as a reminder, so I'm in Texas, so I'm on Central Standard Time. And so between 7 a.m. and 8, right around 7 a.m. and 8 is when I'm going to try to be coming on, which is like for me, right when I'm getting off of work. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing some static and I don't know what that's about. If anybody hears static just let me know in the chat and I'll see if I can fix it and tweak it. Okay, yeah, I am public. I've got my chat box going. Always have to do these last minute things. One of these days, I'm going to be so smooth and so seamless. It's going to be like, wow, she's a true YouTuber. Well, I'm a true YouTuber now. Trust me. Best believe I am a true YouTuber, even though I'm not monetized. This is something I really enjoy doing. I love it. And when I can make my living from this, it'll be even better. But until then, this is cool. All right, let's get to the point where you can actually see my face. And here we go. Good morning. Good morning. Here I am. Yeah, that one only took 7 minutes. And of course, on the replay, I try my best for the people who are watching this on the replay, all that extra housekeeping stuff that I do at the beginning. I try to remember to go back in and trim it out so that you can jump right into the meat of things. But hey, I do what I can do, and I do what I can do, and that's the best that I can do. Now that I got my Wawa and my orange juice, let's start reading the Bible, because that's what we do here in the mornings on 40 Entrepreneur Drive. When I'm not talking about business and entrepreneurship, I am trying my best to stick with my New Year's resolution, which is why I'm reading the Bible lately. Somebody asked me recently, so are you going to be reading the Bible every day? Or is that your new thing, only Bible stuff? I say no. But I am definitely incorporating this into my overall theme, which is business, entrepreneurship, mental health and wellness, some motivational stuff, work-life balance, vlogging as a Fort Worth vlogger, and also reading the Bible, because this is all what I am about. This is me. This is my lifestyle, and this is what I'm trying to do to maintain my sanity. And so yes, here we go. We got the New Believers Bible compact version. This Bible, if you are interested in getting it, there's a link to this Bible in the description of this live stream and all the other live streams. It is a very easy read. If you've ever been intimidated by the Bible or just didn't understand it because it was like old-fashioned sounding and just too complicated, I recommend this Bible. I don't remember where I got it from. I'm thinking I either visited somebody's church and they gave it to me, or I got it as a gift. I'm really not sure, but I'm glad that I have it, because I've had other Bibles and I've tried to read through them, and I'm a pretty good reader, but they can be a little bit difficult to get through. So anyways, this is the New Believers Bible. Let me do a quick screen share so I can show you the guide that I'm going off of. I hear some static and I don't know where it is. It's really annoying. I've never had that before. I don't think I've changed anything on my settings. I really don't know what that is. I'm so sorry for the people who are hearing that static. Okay, here's my screen share. A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year, a Life-Changing Journey into the Heart of God. And this is the cover. If you're out and about and you want to find this on your own, or if you're looking online and want to make sure it's the right one, this is the cover. This is what it looks like. And this is the schedule. If you want to read the Bible in a whole year, it breaks it down by week 1, week 2. And I started reading the Bible on the first day of January, but since it was the middle of the week, it was a little bit off. So that's why I read a couple chapters ahead to try to catch up. Today is Sunday, and here we go. See that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See how it's 7 lines? That's one every single day. That's what you should be reading if you want to follow this particular schedule. Let me see if I move my phone away. Like I don't know what that is. I can definitely hear a lot of static or something. Okay, chapters 40 through 42 is what we're going to be doing today. So it's going to be a quick read. So hopefully I can get through this one. But of course I'll still be doing my commentary and questions because that's what I do. I got questions, I got comments, I got commentary. That's what I do. All right, without further ado, let's jump into it. We're going to do a quick recap of what was covered yesterday. Okay, I'm looking at the delayed recording here. I'm like, why was I pointing at the live chat? Had to move some stuff around. Okay, what did we go over yesterday? Yesterday we were in like Genesis. Yeah, Jacob had ran away from Laban. Jacob and Esau make peace. I am seriously. I'm trying to identify what that static is because I don't want this to be annoying for anybody who might be I don't know what that is. I'm not doing anything different than I normally do. Why am I picking up static? What's up here? Is there anything up by my microphone? Let me get all this extra stuff off. It shouldn't even be in here. It's not super loud, but I don't want you guys to be annoyed by that static that I can definitely hear. All right, let's get through this. Let's push through. We're going to push through. All right, recapping. Let's see what we talked about yesterday. And to all who have just now come in, welcome again. Welcome to 40 Entrepreneur Drive. This is my morning Bible read. I'm reading the Bible because I made a New Year's resolution that I want to read the Bible every day. This is the easiest way for me to do it since I'm on YouTube every day anyways, and I never have time. So for those interested in hearing the Bible being read, tune in between 7 and 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, and now I'm going to be reading the Bible and giving my own commentary and questions because I don't know that much about the Bible, and I'm trying to learn, and I got questions. So, yes, welcome. Happy Sunday. Today is January 12th, 2020. Yesterday, we talked about Jacob's return to Bethel. He returned to the city of Bethel. Let's see, Jacob's twin brother Esau. We talked about his descendants. It was a long list of descendants. We went through all of his descendants. We went through the rulers of Edom, which was like his nickname, I guess. Then we talked about Joseph's dream. And Joseph was whose favorite son again? Man, even though I'm reading through this Bible, the more names that I go through, I'm just like, it gets confusing with all these names. Jacob. Okay, one of Jacob's favorite sons was Joseph because he had him in his old age and he was like, this is my favorite. And of course, when you have a whole bunch of kids and you are showing favoritism towards one, the other kids are not going to like it. They're going to probably bully and or hate that other sibling. And so Joseph had these dreams, and in these dreams, he was dreaming like, oh, well, he didn't say it specifically, but they were like analogies, like he was dreaming of different things that represented him and his family, and you guys are going to bow down to me and I'm going to be the ruler of all. And they were like, no. Let's see. So what ended up happening in chapter 37 is Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. because one, he was the favorite of the dad, and two, they got tired of hearing all these dreams. Like, Joseph, really, we're gonna bow down to you? Okay, you're the youngest. Oh, whatever. So at first they wanted to kill him, but then they said, no, let's sell him into slavery. That way, that blood won't be on our hands. And so he went into Egypt. He became a servant of Potiphar, or he went in under Potiphar, which was the king, one of the king's right hand mans. He was doing really, really good. God blessed him. Everything that he did there in the palace, it just worked out so smooth. And so he ended up getting more and more promoted and promoted. However, he was a good looking guy, so the wife was trying to go after him. He was like, no, I work for your husband. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to stay on the up and up. And then finally she basically scammed, well, not scammed, what's the word, she lied on him. It's like, oh my goodness, he came in and didn't try to rape me. What really happened is she trying to come on to him, and he's trying to pull away, and when he ran out, she still had his his cloak in her hands. And so that's proof that, see, husband, he came in and he tried to have his way with me. No, wench, you tried to get on him, and now he's gone thrown into prison. So poor little Joseph, he didn't already got, sold into slavery by his brothers, and now he's in the house of Potiphar. Is it Potiphar? I want to say that's the right hand man of the king, or is it the king? You guys can go back and watch watch yesterday's to get the full in-depth story of that. But now Joseph is in prison. But again, he's blessed by God so much that even in prison, he's not just like a lowly prisoner. He's like becoming the warden's helper, and now he's in charge of the prison. So he's still a prisoner, but he's kind of like, kind of living the good life. And he's still having these dreams. And so now we're going to pick up at, I think this is where we left off. Joseph put in the prison, and now we're at chapter 40. Thank you for being patient with the rundown and the recap. I just have to let y'all know what was what, because even when I'm reading it, I'm like, what happened? What did I read? Okay, shall we? Let's shall. Chapter 40. Make sure that my chat room's up so I don't miss anybody. Will B says, hi. Hello, Will B. You are new to me. When I get a moment, I'm going to give you a star, because all new visitors get a star. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I normally talk about business and entrepreneurship, so you can check out those other videos at your leisure in your free time. But today, I'm going to be reading the Bible, because that's my New Year's resolution, is to read the Bible every day. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or insights. Please, please put them in the chat box. I highly appreciate it. All right, let's see. Chapter 40. Joseph interprets two dreams. And if I got good, clear audio, y'all let me know with the one. And if it sounds kind of weird, let me know with the two. If I get a chance, I'll take a break and try to clean that up. But I definitely hear something. But I don't want to keep getting distracted. So chapter 40. Joseph interprets two dreams. Sometime later, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker offended their royal master. Pharaoh became angry with these two officials, and he put them in the prison where Joseph was, in the palace of the captain of the guard. They remained in prison for quite some time, and the captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, who looked after them. While they were in prison, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker each had a dream one night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph saw them the next morning, he noticed that they both looked upset. Why do you look so worried today? He asked them. And they replied, we both had dreams last night, but no one can tell us what they mean. Interpreting dreams is God's business, Joseph replied. Go ahead and tell me your dream. So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream first. In my dream, he said, I saw a grapevine in front of me. The vine had 3 branches that began to bud and blossom, and soon it produced clusters of ripe grapes. I was holding Pharaoh's wine cup in my hand, so I took a cluster of grapes and squeezed the juice into the cup. Then I placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. This is what the dream means, Joseph said. The 3 branches represent 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you up and restore you to your position as his chief cupbearer. And please remember me and do me a favor when things go well for you. Mention me to the Pharaoh so he might let me out of this place. For I was kidnapped from my homeland, the land of the Hebrews, and now I'm here in prison, but I did nothing to deserve it. When the chief baker saw that Joseph had given the first dream such a positive interpretation, he said to Joseph, I had a dream too. In my dream, there were 3 baskets of white pastries stacked on my head. The top basket contained all kind of pastries for Pharaoh, but the birds came and ate them from the basket on my head. This is what the dream means, Joseph told him. The 3 baskets also represent 3 days. 3 days from now, Pharaoh will lift you up and impale your body on a pole. Then birds will come and peck away at your flesh. Talk about the bearer of bad news. Good grief. Pharaoh's birthday came 3 days later, and he prepared a banquet for all his officials and staff. He summoned his chief cupbearer and chief baker to join the other officials. He then restored the chief cupbearer to his former position so he could again hand Pharaoh his cup. But Pharaoh impaled the chief baker just as Joseph had predicted when he interpreted his dream. Pharaoh's chief cupbearer, however, forgot all about Joseph, never giving him another thought. Good morning, Life of Key. How are you? How are you? We're coming in with the interpretation of Joseph interpreting dreams since he's in prison. Chapter 41, Pharaoh's dreams. 2 full years later, Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing on the bank of the Nile River. In his dream, he saw 7 fat, healthy cows come up out of the river and begin grazing in the marsh grass. Then he saw 7 more cows come up behind them from the Nile. But these were scrawny and thin. These cows stood beside the fat cows on the riverbank. Then the scrawny, thin cows ate the 7 healthy fat cows. And at this point in the dream, Pharaoh woke up. But he fell asleep again and had a second dream. This time he saw 7 heads of grain, plump and beautiful, growing on a single stalk. Then 7 more heads of grain appeared, but these were shriveled and withered by the east wind. And these thin heads swallowed up the 7 plump, well-formed heads. Then Pharaoh woke up again and realized it was a dream. The next morning, Pharaoh was very disturbed by the dream, so he called for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. When Pharaoh told them his dreams, not one of them could tell him what it meant. Finally, the king's chief cupbearer, remember him, spoke up. Today I have been reminded of my failure, he told Pharaoh. Some time ago you were angry with the chief baker and me, and you imprisoned us in the palace of the captain of the guard. One night the chief baker and I each had a dream, and each dream had its own meaning. There was a young Hebrew man with us in the prison who was a slave of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he told us each what our dream meant, and everything that happened just as he predicted. I was restored to my position as cupbearer, and the chief baker was executed and impaled on a pole. Pharaoh sent for Joseph at once, and he was quickly brought from the prison. After he shaved and changed his clothes, he went in and stood before Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream last night, and no one here can tell me what it means. But I've heard that you, when you hear about a dream, you can interpret it. It is beyond my power to do this, Joseph replied, but God can tell you what it means and set you at ease. Say, I like that. Always giving God the glory. That's what you're supposed to do. So Pharaoh told Joseph his dream. In my dream, he said, I was standing on the bank of the Nile River, and I saw 7 fat, healthy cows come up from out of the river and begin grazing in the marsh grass. Then I saw 7 sickly-looking cows, scrawny and thin, come up after them. I've never seen such sorry-looking animals in all the land of Egypt. These thin, scrawny cows ate the 7 fat cows, but afterwards you wouldn't have known it, for they were still as thin and scrawny as before. Then I woke up. Then I fell asleep again, and I had another dream. This time I saw 7 heads of grain, full and beautiful, growing on a single stalk. Then 7 more heads of grain appeared, but these were blighted, shriveled, and withered by the east wind. And the shriveled heads swallowed up the 7 healthy heads. I told these dreams to the magicians, but no one can tell me what they mean. Joseph responded, both of Pharaoh's dreams mean the same thing. God is telling Pharaoh in advance what he's about to do. The 7 healthy cows and the 7 healthy heads of grain both represent 7 years of prosperity. The 7 thin, scrawny cows that came up later and the 7 thin heads of grain, withered by the east wind, represent 7 years of famine. This will happen just as I have described it, for God has revealed to Pharaoh in advance what he's about to do. The next 7 years will be a period of great prosperity throughout the land of Egypt, but afterward there will be 7 years of famine so great that all the prosperity will be forgotten in Egypt. Famine will destroy the land. This famine will be so severe that even the memory of good years will be erased. As for having two similar dreams, it means that these events have been decreed by God and he will soon make them happen. Therefore, Pharaoh should find an intelligent and wise man and put him in charge of the entire land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh should appoint supervisors over the land and let them collect 1/5 of all the crops during the 7 good years. Have them gather all the food produced in the good years that are just ahead and bring it to Pharaoh's storehouses. Store it away, guard it, so there will be food in the cities. That way there will be enough to eat when the 7 years of famine come to the land of Egypt. Otherwise, this famine will destroy the land. That's a pretty good interpretation. I'd take that. Okay, now we're going to talk about Joseph, made ruler of Egypt. And we're in chapter 37 of chapter 41. Chapter 41, verse 37. Joseph's suggestion was well received by the Pharaoh and his officials. So Pharaoh asked his officials, "Can we find anyone else like this man, so obviously filled with the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has revealed the meaning of the dreams to you, clearly no one else is as intelligent or as wise as you are. You will be in charge of my court, and all of my people will take orders from you. Only I sitting on my throne will have a rank higher than yours." Okay, this is the point where I got a question. Quick question. So Pharaoh has brought him up out of the prison because of, he heard he's a good dream interpreter through the help of God, and that all of his interpretations have been true. Is this not the same Pharaoh who put him in prison? I gotta backtrack real quick, because on the first hand, he's like, "Okay, I trust you. You're making my household run well. You're making my kingdom run well. Everything you touch is gold. Man, God really loves you because you're just really helping me be prosperous. Everything that you do, I'm benefiting from." And so he kept getting promoted. And he was building that trust, right? Is this not the same Pharaoh whose wife, made this scandal, like, "Oh, he tried to come on to me. And, oh my goodness, I can't believe it." And all this time she was pursuing him, right? So let me just look back, because to me, did you not trust him before, and did you lose your trust that quick? Here's this person coming up and helping you out and basically making your kingdom better and better. And can't you see that he's honest, and can't you see that he's trustworthy? But then because your wife said, "Oh, he came on to me." What would you do? I guess things like that happen nowadays too, right? You have friends who you think are your friends, or you have people who you think are close to you, and then they turn out to, stab you in the back. So maybe that's what Pharaoh thought was happening. But I'm going to look real quick just to see. Maybe it was a different Pharaoh. Maybe over time a different Pharaoh took over. Joseph in Potiphar's house. Okay. Potiphar gave Joseph. Oh, Potiphar. Potiphar was the captain of the guard. Okay, so these are two different people. So Potiphar was up under the Pharaoh. Potiphar was the guard. Okay, so these are two different people. But in either case, he was still done wrong. He was done wrong. And welcome to anybody coming into the chat. I see my numbers popping up and down. If you pop in just for a moment, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know what a good job I'm doing, and if I'm not doing so hot, or if you have a suggestion, let me know in the comment section in the chat room. I will try to do my best to be better and better, because I want my channel to be the best it can be for you. All right, let's see. Pharaoh's dreams, Joseph made ruler. Okay, here we go. So now we're actually in Pharaoh's house. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I hereby put you in charge of the entire land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh removed his signet ring from his hand and placed it on Joseph's finger. Woo! He in the big leagues now. He dressed him in fine linen clothing and hung a gold chain around his neck. He was one of the first OGs. Then he had Joseph ride in the chariot reserved for his second in command, and wherever Joseph went, the command was shouted, "Kneel down." So Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of all of Egypt. And Pharaoh said to him, "I am Pharaoh, but no one will lift a hand or foot in the entire land of Egypt without your approval." Now that's what I'm talking about. That's clout right there. I think it was the same Pharaoh. Well, I thank the Lord that somebody's on here reading the Word of God. I'm trying. I'm trying. I've been a Christian for a while now. I was baptized when I was 15, and I've been a Christian. I put that in quotation marks because I was backsliding, left and right, backsliding. But I'm trying my best. When you know better, you do better. I'm old enough to know better now, and I'm really trying my best. And so, reading the Word is my New Year's resolution, because if I say I'm a Christian, I need to know what that means. And I need to know what it means for me, what it means for my role as a Christian in the world, as a woman, as so many different things. And so that's why I'm reading the Bible every day. And you can tune in right around the same time every day for me to give my reading and commentary and questions. I don't have answers, but I have questions. And I'm hoping that the more that I read and study, I will find those answers. So if you have any insights to this, please share. I will be more than happy to accept all people's interpretations and understandings because 10 people can read the Bible and 10 people can come away with different answers and different understandings. So, and again, welcome. But yes, that was Potiphar. Joseph was in Potiphar's house. Now he's up under the Pharaoh. He is up under the man. The man. He gave him his ring, his signet ring. That's like the Super Bowl ring, right? Who's ever seen one of them football players give away the Super Bowl ring? No, you've worked for that. You've earned it. That means something. So, anyways, moving on. Let's see. We're still in chapter 41, and we're on verse 45. Then Pharaoh gave Joseph a new Egyptian name, Zaphanath Paneah. I didn't know that. I don't remember learning that. Zaphanath Paneah. We got a little star here, so let me look down and see what this means. Zaphanath Paneah probably means God speaks and lives. That's what it says at the little postscript at the bottom. God speaks and lives. Zaphanath Paneah. He also gave him a wife whose name was Asenath. She was the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On. So Joseph took charge of the entire land of Egypt. He was 30 years old when he began serving in the court of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And when Joseph left Pharaoh's presence, he inspected the entire land of Egypt. As predicted, for 7 years the land produced bumper crops. During those years, Joseph gathered all the crops grown in Egypt and stored the grain from the surrounding fields in the cities. He piled up huge amounts of grain like sand on the seashore. Finally, he stopped keeping records because there was too much to measure. During this time, before the first of the famine years, 2 sons were born to Joseph and his wife Asenath, the daughters of Potiphar, the priest of On. Joseph named his older son Manasseh, for he said, God has made me forget all my troubles and everyone in my father's family. Joseph named his second son Ephraim. I should know this because I work with the Ephraim, for he said, God has made me fruitful in the land of my grief. Let me jump down to the postscript real quick and see. So the Greek version reads Heliopolis, and Manasseh sounds like the Hebrew term meaning causing to forget. A lot of these words, a lot of these names that these people are giving their children actually mean something or sound similar to something in Hebrew. And Ephraim sounds like the Hebrew term that means fruitful. All right, let's jump back up into the verses. At last, the 7 years of bumper crops came through the land of Egypt. At last, the 7 years of bumper crops throughout the land of Egypt came to an end. Then the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had predicted. The famine also struck all the surrounding countries, but throughout Egypt there was plenty of food. Eventually, however, the famine spread throughout the land of Egypt as well. And when the people cried out to Pharaoh for food, he told them, Go to Joseph and do whatever he tells you. So with severe famine everywhere, Joseph opened up the storehouses and distributed grain to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe throughout the land of Egypt, and people from all around came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph because the famine was severe throughout the world. That is the ending of chapter 41. Tomorrow, which will be Monday, let me do a quick screen share with you so you'll see. Tomorrow is Monday. And according to this right here, the guide, A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year, which anybody can read, but it's written by a woman. It says for today, actually 42. I need to be going through 42. Okay, so we're going to do one more chapter. See right here, Genesis 40 through 42. This is the end of week 2. See how it's got it broken down, week 2. And then tomorrow is Monday, week 3. And according to this guide here, we will be covering this right here, week 3, News of a New Kingdom. And this is the guide that I am following. Diane Storch's A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year. And I'm glad I did check in check in with the table of contents here. This is the second week. We're ending the second week of January. And so, yes, Genesis 40 through 42. I'm glad I went over there and shared that with you guys. If anybody's interested in either the Bible version that I'm reading or this book, you can check it out in the description. There's a link in the description of what I'm reading. Again, this is the New Believers Bible compact version. It is a very easy read. I do have other versions like the King James Version, the NIV, and another one. I've even got a Santa Biblia because I wanted to start studying in Spanish, but haven't got to that one yet. I got to work through this one first. I got to work through this easier English version first. So yeah. Okay, we got one more chapter to go through, and then I'm going to let you all go on this beautiful Sunday morning, and let's see what else is happening with Joseph. Joseph's brothers go to Egypt. Remember those guys, the ones that sold him into slavery? When Jacob heard that grain was available in Egypt, Jacob, this is the dad, the one who was like, oh, my favorite son. When Jacob heard that grain was available in Egypt, he said to his sons, why are you standing around here looking at one another? I have heard that there's grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy enough grain to keep us alive. Otherwise, we'll die. So Joseph's 10 older brothers went down to Egypt to buy grain, but Jacob wouldn't let Joseph's younger brother Benjamin go with them for fear some harm might come to him. So remember, Benjamin is probably, was he the very last one? Benjamin must have came around after Joseph was sold off. So Jacob's sons arrived in Egypt along with others to buy food, for the famine was in Canaan as well. Since Joseph was governor of all of Egypt and in charge of selling grain to all the people, it was to him that his brothers came. When they arrived, they bowed before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph recognized his brothers instantly, but he pretended to be a stranger and he spoke harshly to them. Where are you from? He demanded. From the land of Canaan, they replied. We have come to buy food. Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they didn't recognize him. And he remembered the dreams he'd had about them many, many years before. And he said to them, you're spies. You've come to see how vulnerable our land has become. No, my lord, they exclaimed. Your servants have simply come to buy food. We're all brothers, members of the same family. We are honest men, sir. We're not spies. Yes, you are, Joseph insisted. You've come to see how vulnerable our land has become. Sir, they said, there are actually 12 of us. We, your servants, are all brothers, sons of a man living in the land of Canaan. Our youngest brother is back there with our father right now, and one of our brothers is no longer with us. But Joseph insisted. As I said, you are spies. This is how I will test your story. I swear by the life of Pharaoh that you will never leave Egypt unless your youngest brother comes here. One of you must go and get your brother. I'll keep the rest of you here in prison. Then we'll find out whether or not your story is true. By the life of Pharaoh, if it turns out that you don't have a younger brother, then I'll know you're spies. So Joseph put them all in prison for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, I am a God-fearing man. If you do as I say, you will live. If you really are honest men, choose one of your brothers to remain in prison. The rest of you may go home with grain for your starving families, but you must bring your youngest brother back to me. This will prove that you're telling the truth and you will not die. And to this they agreed. Speaking among themselves, they said, clearly we're being punished because of what we did to Joseph a long time ago. We saw his anguish when he pleaded for his life, but we wouldn't listen. That's why we're in this trouble. Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? Reuben asked. But you wouldn't listen, and now we have to answer for his blood. Of course, they didn't know that Joseph understood them, for he had been speaking to them through an interpreter. Yeah, because, okay, all these different lands, everybody didn't speak the same language. Oh, and I'm thinking about it. When he got sold into slavery, he's speaking a completely different language, different culture. Now he has to learn a whole different language just to get by. Wow. And so now he's fluent in the Egyptian language. Wait a minute. Okay, so the interpreter spoke both Egyptian and whatever language that his brothers had came from, which was his own language. I guess throughout the years, people probably forgot who he was, where he came from. He didn't have a history. He was a nobody. He was a prisoner. Oh, so now he's fluent and he's using the interpreter, but he remembers his mother tongue. Okay. Of course, they didn't know that Joseph understood them, for he had been speaking to them through an interpreter. Now he turned away from them and began to weep. When he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. Then he chose Simeon from among them and had tied him up right before their eyes. Joseph then ordered his servants to fill the men's sack with grain, but he also gave secret instructions to return each brother's payment at the top of his sack. He also gave them supplies for their journey home. So the brothers loaded their donkeys with the grain and headed for home. But when they stopped for the night, and one of them opened his sack to get grain for his donkey, he found his money on top of his sack. "Look," he exclaimed to his brothers, "my money has been returned. It's here in my sack." Then their hearts sank. Trembling, they said to each other, "What has God done to us?" When the brothers came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him everything that had happened. "The man who was governor of the land spoke very harshly to us," they told him. "He accused us of being spies, scouting the land, but we said we're honest men, not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father. One brother is no longer with us, and the youngest is at home with our father in the land of Canaan." Then the man who was governor of the land told us, "This is how I will find out if you're an honest man. Leave one of your brothers here with me and take grain for your starving families and go home. But you must bring your youngest brother back to me. Then I will know you are honest men and not spies. Then I will give you back your brother and you may trade freely in the land." As they emptied out their sacks, there in each man's sack was the bag of money he had paid for the grain. The brothers and their fathers were terrified when they saw the bags of money. Jacob exclaimed, "You are robbing me of my children. Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and now you want to take Benjamin too? Everything is going against me." Then Reuben said to his father, "You may kill my 2 sons if I don't bring Benjamin back to you. I'll be responsible for him, and I promise to bring him back." But Jacob replied, "My son will not go down with you. His brother Joseph is dead, and he is all I have left. If anything should happen to him on your journey, you would send this grieving white-haired man to his grave." And that's where we leave off. Chapter 43 will be starting tomorrow when we will cover the brothers' return to Egypt. Boy, oh boy, you never know. You never know the actions that you take against somebody now, how it will affect them years down the line, how it will affect you years down the line. It's just a testament. It's really a testament to the power of God, because God told Joseph through his dreams way back when he was younger what was going to happen. Now, I don't know, maybe he could have done it in a more humble way. Who knows if he was being kind of obnoxious about it, or if it was just like, "Hey, it is what it is. These are my dreams. This is what God is telling me." I mean, who really wants to hear something like that? Who wants to hear, "Oh yeah, by the way, Kenya, I've been having this nagging dream every day that, I'm going to own your house and all the land that you own." It's like, what? Really? No, I pay my bills. But if that's what God has in plan and in store, who am I to go against the word of God? It's not something I want to hear, but that's not what Joseph's brothers wanted to hear either. So difficult. It's so difficult. All these twists and turns and plot twists and story arc that's like, right when you think something's gonna go terrible, it goes great. And right when you think things are going great, out of the blue, something else happens. We are still in the book of Genesis. Tomorrow we will be doing Genesis 40. Tomorrow is week 3. And just as a reminder, tomorrow starts week 3, and which is news of a new kingdom. For the week of January 13th on through, we'll be going Genesis 43 all the way down through Matthew. Wait, huh? Oh, I see what's going on. So this guide, well, not this book, this is the Bible. The guide looks like, now that we've gone through Genesis, we're going to be touching a little bit on the Old Testament and a little bit on the New Testament. So next week, according to this, let me give you a quick screen share so you can see what's coming up for tomorrow. Right here. Right here. Get out of here. Don't you hate it when you accidentally touch something on the screen and it's just like throws you off? Okay, right here we're going to be touching on a little bit more of Genesis and finishing up Genesis. Then we're going to jump forward into the New Testament, Matthew 1 through 15. And these are the checkpoints for tomorrow: forgiving ruler, Jesus and Judas' blessing, royal family tree, narrow gate, miracles on land and sea. I didn't know that. That it was going to be going with both. I thought it was like straight from the start to the end. So that's pretty cool. Ah, that was nice. That was nice. And now I lost my page because I've got too many things open. Ah, give me a moment. Un momento, por favor. Okay, let me check in with my chat room because I know that I've been kind of ignoring you guys. All right, so seeing this live chat sometimes doesn't okay, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So to Life of Key, who joined me this morning, and Will B, who joined me this morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. I did see a couple people pop in and out. Thank you all for spending whatever time that you were able to spend with me. For those of you who will be watching this on the replay, I appreciate you taking the time to go through the Bible with me, where we will be reading the Bible every day until we get to the end. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the replay. They both count towards me. And let YouTube know what a fine job I'm doing. Don't forget to check out some of my other videos. I do have scheduled videos coming out. I think it's either coming out every Tuesday or every Wednesday. I've got some pre-scheduled stuff up. I've got some research that I'm doing for next month, Black History coming up. So stay tuned for that. And again, thank you so much for watching me. Catch you on the next round. This is the point where I sing my little outro song that I've created. Yeah, I think it's nice. Y'all ready for it? Thank you for joining me here on Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive, Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive, Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching, share, like, and subscribe. Thanks, and don't forget to follow me on social media.